Hello, and welcome to the Getting Started webinars for the free Talking Points for Teachers accounts. I'm Paige, and I'll be introducing you to our organization and walking you through how to get acquainted with your Talking Points account and sending your first message. Let's get started. At Talking Points, our mission is to drive student success by unlocking the potential of families to fuel their children's learning. And we help you do that by providing you this free app to keep you constantly connected to families for effective and equitable family engagement. And you already know, it's free. If you want to hear more about how Talking Points got started and why we do what we do, click the link in the description to hear our founder, Hee-Jae Lim's 5-minute TED Talk. But for today, let's keep it simple. We're going to learn how to get started, set up classes, add families, and send our first message. So let's go. So if you're here, you've probably already signed up for your account, but maybe not. So I'm going to start right where we sign up for our account and go through those steps. They're very quick. So you'll go to talkingpts.org. It's Talking Points, but talkingpts.org. And up in the right-hand corner or down here, you'll click Sign Up. And it'll give you an option for teachers and admins or family contacts. You want teachers and admins. You can choose to sign up with Google or Apple or your email. It's totally up to you. I'm going to do email this time. You'll be prompted to type in and select your password. Type in your full name and your teacher's signature. What you want to put here is what you like families to call you at school. For instance, my name is Paige Delosier, but families always called me Mrs. D or Mrs. Delosier when I was teaching. Families never called me by my first name, so I'm going to put Mrs. D. That's what they called me. This will show up in front of some messages, so for families to know who they're getting the message from, it would make more sense to put Mrs. D. Then you've signed up, and it'll ask you a few more questions. Your position, there are a lot listed here: gen ed teacher, EL coordinator, counselor. We've got a lot listed that we normally see. If yours isn't listed, you could click other, or you could type in your own. I was an EL teacher, so I'm going to click that. I taught 2nd grade, so I'll go for that. You can click multiple grade levels if you teach multiple grade levels. And you'll type in your school. This is based on your location, so once you start typing something in, say, mine's pulling up Tennessee schools because that's where I am. Yours will do the same. If it doesn't pull up what you're looking for, you can type in what you'd like and select that. But otherwise, you should be able to scroll through and find your school on the list. This will be automatically selected to get emails from us. We send out fabulous resources like our blog posts and our newsletter about our features that we've added to the app, and announcements like when our CEO did her TED Talk, and they are awesome resources and best practices for family engagement that I highly recommend you stay subscribed to, but that is optional. And then you must agree not to message anyone under the age of 13 in order to continue. All right. Once you've logged in, this is what your account will look like. It's pretty empty, but that's because you'll need to add contacts and then send your first announcement or direct message. It's prompting me to add students and contacts. So it pretty much walks you through the steps that you'll have to do in order to get started. There are a few different ways you can add family contacts. If you've already received your roster with names, phone numbers, and you know what language they speak, you can click this first option and just start typing them away, or use our Excel or Google Sheet template to do that, to copy and paste them into this form here. If you do not have their information, we have an option for you to send them your class code and they can join your class. We do recommend, although this is a simple process, we do recommend you adding them if possible. And the reason we recommend that is teachers and families alike report really liking that option. It takes the responsibility and the difficulty off of families. So if you have everyone's information, this is the best option. And it makes families feel like they don't have any extra work to do. I know I used a different program when I was teaching, and getting everyone to join when I had no control over adding them myself was very difficult. So this is definitely the best option. But this does exist if that is something you're more comfortable with, or if you know that they'll be able to get on. And we do offer the letter that has your class code built in within your account. So that's helpful there. Another way for them to join rather than you adding them, you can send home another form of the letter that gives them the text message code for them to join your class. And then the last way to add is to add existing students. So once you've created classes with students and contacts in them, you can add students from one class to another without having to add them again. And we can talk about that again once we've set up those classes. So let's do this. So let's go ahead and add some students to our account with their contacts and language and phone number so that we can start sending some messages. It's the first step in getting connected to families. You're gonna type a name. You can do first and last, just first. You can do first, last, initial. It's totally up to you. Contact name is optional because sometimes we know their guardian's name, sometimes we don't. I'm going to put that it is their stepmom named Paige. That's my name. We'll say this one speaks English. I'm going to do a few fake numbers since we're doing a practice account. We'll do a father who speaks Spanish. We'll do... Okay, so I'm just going to add 2 students. You can add up to 200 students in your account because it is free. All right, so it has checked up that first step for me because I am ready to send messages. It has opened up step 2 and is telling me send an announcement or send a message. The difference between the two is that an announcement is to multiple classes or multiple families. So you're kind of making an announcement. I like to think of it as kind of the loudspeaker of the school. So you're sending out like a blast to everybody. A message is a DM to one family, one parent, one contact. So you're having kind of a private conversation. I'm gonna do an announcement, which I could click right here since it's my first one. From then on, I'll click up here to choose what I'm going to send. It's going to pre-fill the first message for me. I can choose to send that message or replace it with another one. But we try to fill it in with this first one just to help you introduce yourself if you're not sure what to say that first time. You can select who to send it to. Since I've only got the one class, I'm gonna send it out to them. It's just gonna tell them who I am, that this is Talking Points, this is how they're going to be getting messages from me, and that they can unsubscribe if they'd like by texting goodbye back. And since these families don't have the Talking Points for Families app yet, they will be getting this message via text. And it has a link here that they can click to download the Families app. So it still does not require the families to do anything. They'll just be sitting or out on the town and they'll receive this text message from me and we will instantly be connected. They can continue talking to me via text or they can choose to download that app. It's immediate, effective engagement. So I can go ahead and send that message or I can change it up for myself. I can add some, like a pretty background to it. and it does scroll. It's just kind of a long message. I can decide to send this message later if I don't actually want it to go out right now, and schedule it for a later date and time if I'd rather it go out next week because school isn't starting yet and I don't want to bother anybody. I could do that and click schedule. Since this is my first message, I'm going to go ahead and schedule that one to go out. All right. Since I scheduled it, it's going to sit over here so that I have a reminder of that scheduled message that's going to go out. And I'm active. I'm a Talking Points teacher and my account is set up and I'm ready to go. I have some helpful tips on the side here that can help me to make the most of my Talking Points account. I'll have some activity notes here to see how engaged I am and my families are. I can look at all the messages that are being sent on the sides, but let's send another message. Let's talk just to one family. I'm going to reach out to John's father. Let's say that John didn't come to school today. I'm going to reach out and find out what's going on. So I've taken attendance, found out that John's not at school today and everyone's working. So I'll come to my desk or even walk around the classroom and have my cell phone and just reach out and say, hi, this is Mrs. D. I noticed John isn't at school today. I hope everything is okay. We miss him. Just letting them know that I care and I notice he's out and that they know they can reach out to me if they need anything. If I wanted to attach his missing work for the day, I could absolutely do that. It'll reach into my files. I could also attach from my Google Drive if that's where I keep those assignments. I can attach photos and videos if this was a message about what John did at school today and I wanted to show his dad how excited he was about an art project or something like that. If I wanted to send a poll to the entire class, I could do that as well. We have polls where you can add multiple questions. But since we were going to send this message about him being out sick, I'll just leave it at that and hope to hear back and build a connection with John and his family. Those messages will show up here under messages where I can see that conversation right here going back and forth. And I'll be able to see the announcements that I've sent out here. Now, the announcement that I wrote earlier is scheduled. So it's in this dashboard, but once it does go out, it will be here and I'll be able to see that. I also have my analytics dashboard, which doesn't have a lot going on yet, but once I have some engagement with my families, I'll be able to see all of the contacts here, what languages they speak, who's got a valid and an invalid phone number, who's subscribed and unsubscribed, who's using text message, who's on their mobile app, and then the rosters for my classes. Once I'm in a class roster, that's where I can add more students if they do come in. Now, before we wrap up, because we have logged in, we've created our account, added a class, and started communicating, I do want to show you how to kind of make your profile a little bit more engaging. When you first start, you'll get some of these tips from our team about how to get started. So it's telling me I can help families recognize me by adding a profile picture. And I think that's a great idea because families love to see the teacher's face, especially if their kids have multiple teachers or if they don't get to see you in person a lot. Try to make things as personal as possible because this is all about building relationships with families around their child's education. So throwing a nice picture in there, a lot of teachers like to use their Bitmoji. I know that's really fun. So a picture you really like, making sure your teacher's signature is the name that you go by with your students and their families is really important. And then down here, If you do speak a second language that you can communicate with certain families in, we give you that ability in Talking Points, which is very exciting. That's why first, we insist on your communications going to families in their home language. And second, we want to give you the opportunity to send messages in a second language if you do speak that language. So, for instance, I'm conversational in French. So if I set French as my second language, then if a French family joins my classroom, I can go into their messages and I can type my messages in French, and they will go straight to that family in French and come back in French. Nothing has to happen in English. Now I can only do that with that family, but everyone else I can send in English. So we give you that opportunity to have an even more authentic conversation with the families with whom you can speak that same language. Going back to your settings, take a moment before you continue to send messages just to go through and familiarize yourself with your account, what your role is listed as, what your notifications are set for. Do you want to be notified for every message or twice a day, once a day, every week? And then do you want to set office hours? To a teacher, time is very precious. I know this from experience. And setting your office hours, your available hours, and telling families what that expectation is a really healthy boundary to set. So you can say, I will only receive notifications between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. That's well beyond school hours, so giving some wiggle room, but setting some time for you, your family, and rest. So letting families know, if you send me a message outside those hours, that's fine, but I won't get back to you until the following day. And then the last thing I want to show you is your email settings for subscriptions. You made a choice at the beginning when you signed up whether you wanted to subscribe to our newsletter. And in your settings, at any time, you can go in and customize specifically what types of emails you want to get from us. We are a nonprofit organization, so we send out different types of information to our supporters. Sometimes we send out our research because we do our own research in the ed tech and education fields. And we like to share that with our teachers and with our families. We also have resources like blog posts and teacher tips and best practices that we like to share with you. And then we also have product updates. So if you're waiting on that brand new feature that you've been asking for, and little did you know that our devs were working on it this entire time to make it perfect for you, make sure you're subscribed to our emails so that you know exactly when it comes out, so you can be the first to use it. So you can always go into your settings and change that subscription if you'd like to. Some of you are probably saying, wait, I thought this was an app for my phone. What are you doing on your web browser? You're right, it's also for your phone. So let me show you something real quick. What I show you today, as far as signing in, creating classes, adding students, you'll be able to see on your mobile app as well. You'll be able to sign in as a teacher to see the same information on your mobile account. You can even create it on your mobile phone. The only thing I recommend is adding students on the web if you have a lot of students, because it will be quicker to do that. But after that step, you can go back and forth between the web and your phone, so that if you're on the go with your students or at home even, you can send messages to families. And then you can use your computer when you're in the classroom. We really want you to have access to your account no matter where you are. So that's what you need to know to get started on your free Talking Points for Teachers account. I hope this was helpful. There are links in your app to get support, and you can start a chat with our support team if you can't find your answer on the Help Center. I've enjoyed my time with you, and I look forward to seeing what creative ways you find to engage your families on Talking Points. Happy messaging.